Hey guys, what's up? This is Dingo Crikey here with another commentary video, this time on the Transformers 4 Age of Extinction line. If you guys are interested in more Transformers commentary on news and discussion topics, please check out my playlist and channel, where I also have a number of Transformers stop motion videos as are previewed here. But for this video, I'll be talking about possible repaints of the Dinobots released in the Transformers 4 line. So this was a topic idea I got from another user, and I decided it was good enough to do a video on. Because basically we know the Dinobots, somewhere along the way, most if not all of them are going to get repaints. Basically happens with most figures released in Transformer lines outside of a few oddballs. So they're going to come along anyways. Why not speculate on who they might be or who we'd like to see them repainted as. As for me, when I initially heard of this, it was a no-brainer. I wanted to see the G1 Ryokos of all these figures, period. That was basically my sole opinion. But we are seeing that the Japanese releases are going to get something like that, at least of Slug and Grimlock. There might be other ones, but those are the two I've seen. And looking at the images, I'm not really crazy about them. And usually Japan gets some pretty good releases, and they just don't look that good. So I've kind of retraced my opinion about that and been looking at other possibilities if they were to make repaints of the Dinobots. As for possibilities, I mean, there's a lot they could go with. They could pick something from the past. They could just repaint them in entirely new color schemes and label them characters we've never seen before. They could pick a group from the past, like a particular subgroup of Transformers, and choose to do that, or characters from a particular show, repaint them in that kind of color scheme. So there's a lot of areas they could go with. My initial thoughts would be to repaint some of them in a Beast Wars style. Now that might seem a little bit weird at first, but I think it could work with quite a few of them. Let's take Slash for example. Boom, he'd make a great Dinobot. I mean, yeah, he might not be perfect, but usually you're not looking for these things to be identical to their original counterparts. You want them to look a little bit different. He's a Velociraptor. His robot mode doesn't share a ton of similarities to his Beast Wars counterpart, but I think it could still work pretty well, and the color scheme would look pretty cool on it. Next, there would be Strafe as Pterosaur. That would definitely work really well, especially because we're seeing Beast Wars Pterosaur being repainted as Strafe. Kind of makes sense, repaint Strafe as Pterosaur. I think that'd be pretty cool. Then next, have Scorn repainted as Megatron. I didn't think of this one initially. Initially, I just thought Grimlock be Megatron. He's a T-Rex. He was a T-Rex in Beast Wars. That makes enough sense. But I started reading some stuff online that people wanted to see Scorn as Megatron because he has the tail as the hand and the dinosaur head on the arm. And it just clicked. It made perfect sense to me. That would be really cool. Yeah, he's a Spinosaurus and not a T-Rex, but I think I could forego that. It'd be pretty cool. The color scheme would probably look good on it too. And then for Grimlock, I think they could probably then do maybe another Megatron Ryoko, but maybe in like a Transmetal style. He had two Transmetals forms from that series, so they could pick either one of those and do that as well. It might work out pretty good. And then Slug, a little bit of a stretch, but I think they could do Rhinox with him. It's not the same creature he'd be turning into, but I think it'd work pretty good. He still has that burly appearance that Rhinox had, and I think it would look good with the color scheme. As far as Slog and Snarl, you probably could pick a few, but I don't think any of them are going to fit it that well. I mean, Rhinox is already a stretch as being Slug, so I really don't know where they would go with either of those two. If they were going to do this Beast Wars style, that's a hard one to pick. As far as other possible styles, I think repainting them in the fashion of Soundwave and Blaster's minions from G1 would be a really cool avenue to take. I think there's a lot they could do with that. First up, I think a really good possibility would be to repaint Voyager Grimlock as Overkill. And we haven't had an official release like that, so that'd be pretty cool. Also, Snarl as Slugfest. That would work out pretty well. I mean, his color scheme might be a little bit similar to the original Snarl mold since they're both primarily green, but with the shade of green and the purple spikes, they could probably tweak it up to make it look pretty cool. Strafe, There's a lot of possibilities they could do there. They could do Laserbeak, Buzzsaw, Ratbat, or Squawk Talk. He was a more minor character, but they could still do him. I think Laserbeak or Buzzsaw's color schemes would look the best. Squawk Talk was primarily blue, so Strafe's already blue. It might be cool. I like Ratbat's color scheme, but I'm not sure how they look on the mold. Either Laserbeak or Buzzsaws would look pretty cool. I think I'd be happy with that. As far as Slug, they could probably do Ramhorn, who was one of Blaster's minions. Yeah, he'd probably look pretty good in that red color scheme. Might need to tweak it up a bit, but they could do that pretty cool. Slash, he's a little bit of a harder one because none of the minions were like Velociraptor type things. But kind of looking at the options, I think Ravage would work pretty well. You can kind of equate the two. And then also Steeljaw, who was Blaster's minion. My only thing with that is the gold color scheme might not work so well, but maybe if they made it yellow and black or something like that, it could look pretty good. But either one of those two, Ravage or Steeljaw. And then as far as Scorn, I think they could also do Overkill's color scheme for Scorn. If they don't do Grimlock, then he would definitely work out pretty well too. He's a different type of dinosaur, but he'd be cool. And then for Slog, I mean, once again, it's a really hard one. I mean, what are you going to do with that guy? I mean, looking at all the minions, the only possibility I found was a character called Beastbox, and even that's a bit of a stretch because he kind of walked around like a gorilla and stuff, but he kind of had more of a big physique, and it might work with Slog. Also, the color scheme, the purple and the yellow, he might look a little bit like a Barneysaur, but that might be kind of cute and cool at the same time. That would be, yeah, I think that could work. So I think if they did Soundwave and Blaster Minion themed Dinobot repaints, they could do a lot with those. They'd have a good amount of possibilities for a few characters too. Other possibilities, they could just pick random Transformer characters to base the repaints off of. And I didn't spend a ton of time thinking about this, but there were a few that I figured they could do pretty good repaints of. If they did Slog in kind of a Long Rack theme. Now, Long Rack was originally a draft Transformer from Beast Wars Neo, so not necessarily repainting him with all the draft spots and pattern. That would look kind of weird. But in Cybertron, they had repainted Armada Hoist in that general kind of color scheme, and they did a pretty good job with it. They might be able to do Slog pretty good in that color scheme too. Might look a little weird, but I'm sure they could finagle it. Leader Grimlock. I think he'd make an excellent Trypticon repaint. No doubt about it. Love to see that Leader Grimlock in Trypticon's color scheme. I think that'd be great. And then Strafe. Any one of like the G1 Seekers, preferably like Skywarp, Thundercracker, or Starscream. I think as far as repainting him as Starscream, you could take a number of the versions of Starscream to look at as a basis. Armada Starscream's color scheme would look great on that mold, I think, with the black, the white, and the red all mixed up. G1's color scheme, I don't know. The blue might not fit in good if you have red and white together, too. Cybertron Starscream, that would work out. So there are a lot of possibilities there. Anyways, that's my general thoughts on it. I would love to see Dinobot repaints all together, and I'd hope they'd pick some kind of theme like this, but who knows, they might not. Either way, it should be cool, the molds are already good. But that's my opinion about it. If you guys agree or disagree, you can leave that in the comment section. Who might you like to see the Dinobots repainted as? Do you just not want to see repaints altogether? Maybe you want to see them repainted as entirely new characters. Any thoughts you might have, just leave it in the comment section, along with any other topic ideas you might have, and I'll try to get around to doing them sometime too. Anyways, that's it for this video. Stay tuned for more commentary videos and more stop motion videos, which are coming soon. Stick around for a new Transformers stop motion fight, which I plan to be uploading this week, and more videos altogether. That's it for today. Have a good one, guys.